Yay, I love this book. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bookover Little Book Club, where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, and with me is
Megan. Hi.
And today we're talking about Credence by Penelope Douglas. It's perfect. I don't know why, for me, it is perfect for winter, the holidays, probably because of the winter months in the book.
Yeah, the wintry setting.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like, for me, the perfect December read.
Yeah. Cozy, a good word for it.
Yeah,
cozy. It's cozy. It's a cozy dark room.
Yeah.
Taboo,
cozy romance.
Taboo, cozy romance.
I love it. Before we get started, spoiler alert, I'm talking about the book.
Yeah, with all the spoilers.
All the spoilers in the book. We're talking about it. All right. So I forgot how good this book is. Like, I knew it was one of my, like, I knew I loved the book. I remember reading it for the first time and going, I just love this book. I recently bought a book box because Penelope Douglas was going to be featured in it, and Credence was the book that came with it. So now I have a signed copy of Credence. And I'm just like, I love the book. And so then I just reread the book for this episode, and I forgot how much I loved it. Like, I knew I loved the book, but then when you read the book, you're like, gosh, I love this book.
Sometimes rereads is because you're not stressed. You know what's going to happen. You can just appreciate and see things you couldn't see before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time reading this book. For anyone who's like a first time reader on the book, it was rough for me. It was hard. The taboo parts of this I felt like weird. You know, Tiernan with her uncle, and then with her cousins, it was strange, but then
technically not blood related.
So I was like, it's okay. It was just like that age difference thing and stuff. But like, now when I think about it, I'm like, is it really not taboo? Like,
right?
Because later on I've read so much, so I'm like, it's not so bad. But
initially it can be,
initially, for a first time read, I can see it maybe like catching somebody. But if you really go down deep to like the bones of the book, and like when she explains the one piece of advice that her mother ever gave her of love, how you have lust, learn, and then love, right? There's 3 types of love. So your first love is lust. Your second one is when you learn about yourself, what you like, what you don't like and stuff. And then the last one is the one that you fight for and the one that you love.
I really loved that.
I loved that part. And that is exactly what this book is, and those relationships are. And I think that's how it ends so well, because I feel like everyone kind of remembers that advice, because even Noah brings it up at one point at the end of the book. And everyone understands like their part in it, but everyone else, I think, needed their side of that relationship. Like the uncle needed to be the lust. Noah needed to be the learn, because he needed to learn too. And Caleb needed the love.
The love. Yeah. Well said. Very well said.
So I kind of skipped the summary of this book. I kind of just jumped in there, but it basically, it starts of Tiernan, we find out her parents died, and we slowly learn throughout the book that she was severely neglected by her parents. Like one of the guys, basically says like they had a child because they thought that was the next thing that they should do in their relationship, and then they did not like having a child.
I feel like she had to kind of come to terms with it too, like throughout the book, that she was neglected. She knew it, but she also had to come to terms with it, with their death, with the whole thing. I thought that was very interesting, that, concept, her parents dying and them being so in love with each other. Like, they could show love, but they didn't show love to her. So she was a character that needed love. And then she's sent to this family. It's the father's stepbrother, who's young, who was a lot younger, and they had a bad relationship. But she chose it though. Like even on the phone, he's like, you can just live your own life. But something told her to go there, like against like everyone's against the odds. And especially because her parents were famous and in the spotlight, it kind of got her away. Yeah, so she's like, I think from the beginning they thought that she was going to be like a princess and all that, and she was like she never fit in. So kind of going to the wilderness was perfect for her.
Mm-hmm. She loved it. She loved the silence. She liked being alone, but then she slowly grew to like, you know, the noises of the house and the guys in it and her family. And I love that she started proving that she's not the princess, you know, from the start, like, put me to work, show me how to do this. Yes, I will contribute, you know, fixing the fridge, you know, and she's like alone in it. She was okay being alone. She was okay looking up the YouTube video and fixing it, you know. I like to seeing that progress of her like doing things alone to her being like, show me how to do it, let me help, you know, it's growth. But what I really loved is like that family there, the guys really grew with her at the house.
They did, because I feel like, you know, they're stuck in this small town, they get snowed in every winter for months. And, you know, they're living with their dad and they don't have the best relationship with him. There's a lot of family issues going on. Noah seems to have a lot of anger. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to see the world. Caleb just doesn't even talk. He's had like trauma in his past. Jake, you know, he's mourning love. He's you know, a kind of a recluse with these sons. It's just, God, they're such interesting dynamic characters. Like the whole setup. And again, we all know I love reverse harem, but I'm okay that she had to choose. So this commonly gets like labeled as reverse harem. I think it's very popular in book talk right now because it has some taboo aspects, and a lot of times people will be like, I just read Credence, so I'm looking for more reverse harem, and it's like, well, technically it's not reverse harem because you have to choose. But I like that she had to choose. I know,
but she wasn't pressured to choose too, which I love. It just naturally happened.
Yeah,
and that's like, because they weren't like, you have to choose, you know. They were stuck up there for winter. And she was okay. Like she said at one point, like, I am making my choices. I wouldn't do something. She had all these examples of times where she said no and she fought back. And then she's like, if I don't want it, I will not have it. Yeah. You know, and so she was accepting, you know, that she had these three guys. And what I do like, it just naturally evolved from one to the next. You know, she starts out with Jake, her uncle, step uncle, not blood related.
Yeah.
You know,
who she had never met before.
She never met before. Yeah. But she, and you know, said he's attractive and all this stuff. She felt that attraction. She felt that lust for him. And that I loved that. I loved their times together, her first time with him, shower with him, all those things. And then, but when like
spanking scene,
the spanking, you know, and I could see, and what I liked though is it wasn't like the other guys, the boys were not okay with it at first. You know, they were mad that Jake did that. They were mad that she was with him, especially Caleb was really mad. And I loved that first scene with Caleb, you know, because there was a fight with her. Yeah. Not just with him, but with herself. She's like, I like this, but I don't want this. I like this, but I don't want this. And
very primal.
Yes. And then they even revisit that at the end of the book where, you know, he's like, remember that first time, you know, like, and it's because like he wanted her then, and it was very animal. It was very primal. And then it was like that initial, you know, when you think of relationships, one ends and then another starts and then ends. And it was very like cut. And this one, they kind of overlapped and there was some blending and bleeding. And so like, you know, Caleb's could have very well been more like of a love at first sight type thing, but she fought it. And then she had that lust thing with Jake, and that was everything they did was lust. You know, there wasn't that much deepness to it, you know.
Yeah, he cared about her.
He cared.
He cared about her general well-being. I think he saw she was neglected, you know, even from that first moment where he took her to the candy store, like I think he saw that. But yeah, I agree. It wasn't right. I think Noah for me though. I was like, did you predict who she would end up with?
I'm trying to think.
Like I know it's hard to remember the first read, right? If you had like knew it.
I
I feel like
don't
I had a
I don't
feeling.
think I predicted. I think at first I
Mhm.
was hoping for Noah. I
Me
felt
too. Me too.
so bad for him. I felt like he deserved
He was a great character, great guy.
love and something good.
Mhm.
Just when we got his POV too, where he
Yeah.
was like, I'm just, with women to feel something and to forget and
Hmm.
but he hated it too. And so I feel like he needs that one person. And the fact that like she had one time with him,
Hmm.
shared practically, and that's
Yeah.
fine, but like she also learned a lot. She had a really good friendship relationship with him.
Yeah, which I really liked. I really liked their relationship, but I don't know. I really liked their relationship.
I like the relationship, but you know what? Like, I don't know, like this reread with him, I
Hmm.
still really feel for Noah, and I really want to see him have his own story and
I like
him get what he deserves. He needs to learn and get that love that
that.
he needs. But I always liked Caleb. I don't know why. I think I sensed it from that beginning. But
Hmm.
like once that relationship, once you realize how much he wanted her, because he's not talking, so she's going off of his cues, and
Yeah.
he's mad, he's upset that she's been with the other two in a
Hmm.
way, and like in a way he's kind of childish with a lot of the stuff.
Is especially with the scene and where it kind of comes out that he's jealous.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, in his perspective where it's in his head,
Mm-hmm.
and
I love how she wrote that in his hit, that perspective where it's not like his thoughts, his word, like
yes,
how she, yeah.
yeah, what is it called when it's like from a third person point of view? Is that what
Mm-hmm.
it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
He,
that
she,
too.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
I
that was
love that.
very cool.
Yeah. I was, and in a way I was like, gosh, I would love to be inside his head to see what he's thinking, but it comes across so well,
It does.
and it just, but like, yeah, I'm happy. I loved them together and how that end where they were fighting. Oh my
Together.
gosh. I think I got a little teary eyed when she left, when he put her suitcase in the car and pretty much told her to go.
Hmm.
I was like, no, she wants somebody to fight for
Fight
her.
for her. Yeah.
I'm gonna like cry now. I'm like, fight for her. But then
Yeah.
at the end, it turned out so much better for him, how he showed up for her
Hmm.
and how he said, I needed to learn and listen to myself too first. So I feel like that's a great thing, because I think that's something with relationships in general, is sometimes we just jump in and we kind
Hmm.
of don't listen to ourselves. We kind of neglect ourselves a little bit because we're all about this relationship and this person. And sometimes it's good to have that space and like really work on ourselves,
Hmm.
because how can you fully love somebody and be loved back if you're not that way with yourself, if you're not,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
fact that he went to
Mhm.
listen to himself, and even you could take that literally, right, because he went up and he started reading out loud
Mhm.
to himself. I love that when he first talked to
Mhm.
her at the end, I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, wait, I want to know,
Mhm.
did he keep those words in and for her to be the first to hear him talk, or did he talk to like Jake and be like, let's go get her? You know what I mean? Like, I want to know who got to hear him first. Like, I would have
That's a good
loved to get that
question.
perspective, an extra scene. Penelope, give us an extra scene where,
Hey.
he goes to
Mhm.
Jake after the cabin and goes, okay, I'm ready.
I'm
Like,
ready. I like that.
I would
Mhm.
love that.
I would like that too.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, no, definitely think it all happened how it was meant to happen. But I do have a special place in my heart for Noah, so I agree. I hope he gets, because at first I was rooting for him because I knew she was going to choose. Again, I liked the idea of not knowing who she was going to end up with. But then they did complement each other well. I mean, yes, they fought, and maybe he was throwing things away he shouldn't have been throwing away. trying to trap her.
But I like that because, you know, she was like, she was worried, you know, he's
right.
not going to want this once that snow melts, you know, or whatever, he's not going to want me anymore. And that was him showing like, I'm not going to go anywhere. Yeah.
Well, I think that was showing he was worried too. He wanted to like, make sure she didn't leave.
Yeah. And so I'm happy, you know, obviously that happens later down the road for them. Mm-hmm. They do get to have a family.
Yeah.
But I liked that scene because there was so much being said without words.
Yeah.
There, you know. And the first time I read it, I don't know if I caught it all, but like the second reread this reread, you know, I was like, I liked, you know, that. And I liked that that relationship, you know, I can't imagine being in a relationship with somebody and not learning a different way to communicate to them. But that just shows like how deep they are. Like she knows his eyes, she knows his expressions. Mm-hmm. She can like feel that vibe off of him, you know.
And that's a very special connection because it's not like he didn't know, he wasn't doing sign language. He was it was all based on like reading the person. Mm-hmm. And the way that it was, she wrote it so well. It's so funny, you know, I think it can be really hard for authors to write characters in general, but to write a character that doesn't speak for basically the whole book, I mean, that was impressive.
It was very impressive. And then just still for
like and root for and
and
exactly. That depth. Like I felt like he was not a one-dimensional character. Like he had so many facets and a past, and I just was very impressed.
Without getting but the one POV kind of in his.
Yeah.
Just still for us to be rooting for him as a reader, to feel so much, to understand him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. And I love, you know, like there was hints and I was wondering when it was going to show up, you know, her and her nightmares at night.
Oh yeah.
And how, you know, like it was mentioned that she had those, but like Jake didn't really hear them. Didn't really know about them. And then like the one time Noah hears it, and then he witnesses Caleb coming downstairs sleepily, like he's like he does this every night, and like just go in and lay down with her, and she's calm. And it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like so he comes in and like, but no one else knew because he just would hear her because he's so in tune to her, and come settle down with her, but not tell her. It's just so. I loved that. I love that so much. And then his
selfless.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then like she didn't even know. She found out later.
Yeah.
Right? She found out later. And when she was reading through his books and his little things. And I loved that. I loved some of the things he said, you know, and you could just get the mixed emotions at first, how he's like, I want her to go. And then how he, you know, wanted her to stay. And I just, Caleb.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel you. I definitely feel for Noah, and I want to see Noah's story. But I think he was the right choice. I
agree. That's the thing. I was led to that. Like I feel like it was almost unintentionally, like where Noah has this charisma and, you know, he talks well. Mm-hmm. And then you have the contrast of the brother that doesn't talk. And then I was taken on that journey where I was rooting for Caleb. So it was very well done.
Yeah.
I really liked it. We need more books like this where there's multiple love interests and she doesn't have to choose, but it just happens naturally. I really enjoyed this. It was different. I didn't see it. It's not just even the taboo aspect, which is, I'm not going to lie, it's fun. The taboo aspect was fun at the beginning. It sucked me in. Mm-hmm. But it was the whole, you know, you're getting snowed in, you know, their whole life together, just everything. It really glues you in. It was so different and unique. I haven't read anything like it. Can't think of anything else like it. Loved it.
Right? Yeah, because I'm even thinking of this one had, to me, I wouldn't call it angsty because it had other parts that like made my heart hurt, like her family side of things, and even like Jake's story about his love. But like, like the whole choosing a person and how it was natural. Because like I read another book that I loved, but there was a lot more angst because this one was like childhood friend that was like a natural, let's be in a relationship as they grew up, right? And then she goes off to college, a different college than him, and meets another guy. And then she's fighting her emotions the whole time because she's like really into this guy, but she knows she's supposed to be with this guy that she grew up with. And then at the end, she has to choose. And that one was hard for me too, because that one had a little more angst.
Pretty sure I have that on my TBR list. I can't say the title at the moment, but I can picture the cover.
Well, so this one's Emerge by Essie Hall.
I'm pretty sure I have that on my TBR because I remember asking, I think after Credence, I was like, I'm looking for like love triangles where you don't know who they're going to end up with.
Yeah, and that one was good because you can feel she's torn and she's really having to like listen to herself to decide who she should be with.
But and again, and what I do like about this is you don't feel like no, the characters don't really feel betrayed. It just felt natural. Like they realized it wasn't, no one's feeling betrayed or scorned.
Right. I love that. Like the dad, Jake didn't get mad that she was with the guys, like she told him, and he was a little jealous, but then, and I love that. I loved how like that one night, she was with both Noah and Caleb. I loved that. And
it was a good scene.
It was a good scene. It was a great scene. And this book, I forgot how many those scenes, those hot scenes. Like I was like,
even the angry her asleep scene, where again it's written in like the third person. And the emotion that happens in that scene where like he's in his head and he's like, he wants her and he wants to soothe her, and then he is like, but she doesn't want me, and it's just that was powerful. It was kind of hot. It was kind of powerful. And it was just layered. It was layered. It was layered. I know it didn't end up well at the end, but I liked it.
Yeah. It had a lot of good layers, and I just feel like for it, and this is the whole family aspect of it too, like they went through all this stuff, but they were able to be mature enough to go through it and be family. They are family. I mean, you see at the end, they're camping together.
Yeah.
They're, Noah's hanging out with their kid. So they have a night alone, grandpa Jake is, out fishing. And I just love that, to see that there's still this like happy, now very more happy family unit, so it's like you think about what would have happened if she didn't go there, if she chose to stay at home. It was just so good for everybody for her to do.
I mean, even just reading, her getting experiences that she had never gotten before. It's just it was an enjoyable read. It was just enjoyable too. It's not just the angst. It was like, I don't know, I just kind of got happiness from her, finding her way. Just can't recommend it enough. I mean, I'm sure if you've listening at this point, you've already read it and we spoiled it for you, so I don't really have to recommend it, but it was so good. It's definitely one of my favorite MFs ever, and favorite standalones ever. Like, it's definitely like top 2-3 standalones for me.
Yeah. Well, and I know for you, like, and MFs are harder for you. Like you prefer like,
and this one was
and stuff. And me, not so much. I'm very, but this was just, it was a really good read. I like the journey. I like the months, how we start one season and we go through and just,
I agree. Well, book,
right?
Yeah.
I think I don't have any news on Penelope. I know she has another book, but did we say March coming out?
Yeah, it's set a spin-off of the Fall Away series.
Yes. So but while she's waiting on that, a little extra story, either Noah's story or an extra scene of Caleb talking for the first time and to who. if it is Tiernan, I think that's great. But I have a feeling that like he had to have said something to Jake, right? I could just picture him coming home finally from the cabin, because isn't that what Noah said? He met her in Huntington Beach, which is just the city over from me. And, and he was like, you can ask about him. And he's like, he's been in the fishing cabin or the hunting cabin, I forgot what they called it, since you left. And that was what, like 6 weeks later. So, you know, he didn't know he was coming there, but then all of a sudden Jake and him are there. So I'm curious. I would just love a little extra, anything, any extra scenes you want to write or
we need to investigate. Sure. There might be some scenes we need to investigate.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering because I feel like I saw her say something about Noah's story, and I'm wondering if it's in an anthology. And now I have to research it, everybody. I will post it in our book club group if I find it, because I swore this week I even saw her post something.
We can ask. Maybe somebody knows. Hey, if you're listening and you know, let us know.
Let us know, even though this is recorded a few weeks out. So I will Facebook book club group this and see if anyone knows, because now I need to read that.
Yeah,
that might be my hair of the book for this.
Right? It's like bonus scenes, and if there's an anthology, that'd be great.
Right?
Okay, yeah, hair of the book. Oh, that's tough. Hair of the book.
So a hair of the book for this one, just because I picked this one for like winter.
Okay.
There's a really sweet. It's a series, and it's the Nash Brothers series, Small Town. It's by Carrie Aarons, and it goes over the brothers, and each one, like one's the vet and stuff, and how they find their love. Some of them are more angsty stories, and other ones, like one's an alcoholic, so he's having to like deal with, that and stuff. And then if you get her box set, she has at the end a holiday thing, and it's like all the families together on like a Christmas vacation in a beautiful cabin, which I want to stay at. And that's like why I'm like thinking of that one, because of the small towns. And then there's this like really good, like 20 chapter, different perspectives of each brother, but like at this like family vacation. And it's fun to see them like years later with their kids and stuff. So I think that would be a good go along with this move on from the book over. This was just so good that I'm like, just reread Credence.
There you go. Just reread Credence. You're good to go. Let's see. For me, I would say I want to pick one of my favorite MFs that has absolutely nothing to do with Credence, because I'm like, if we're gonna go with a standalone MF, I'm gonna say I really like Ecstasy by Katie Rose. That's like one of my top MFs. And it's different in that it's the same, and it's different with MFs, and it's the same with Credence, where you don't know who the main character is going to end up with, which I really enjoy. And in this, it's more, you don't know who everyone kind of seems like you don't know who the villain is. You don't know who she should be with. So you don't know who she's going to end up with. You don't know who she should trust. And there's a little taboo aspect to it, so I've definitely recommended it. It's called Ecstasy by Katie Rose.
You hear me? I'm like, ooh, taboo.
Yeah, a little bit. It's dark, but there's a happily ever after. I mean, for somebody, there's a happily ever after. Okay,
sounds good. Sounds really good. It sounds like another Bookover giver.
It's really good. There's also this book by B. Page, a series where I know they get snowed in. I just cannot remember what it's called. It's also brothers, and it's a reverse harem, and they get snowed in. And I feel like people would like that. Yeah, because it's got that whole snowed in the cabin vibe.
I love it.
Ooh, it might be called the Something Brothers too. Ooh,
I read a Snowed in the Cabin one by Carla Sorensen, and it was fake. It's a sports romance.
Oh.
But they get snowed in a cabin just for like a night or two.
It's always
good. It's not the whole story, but it's good. I don't know if there's something about being snowed in the cabin where you're like, we're stuck together. Let's do this.
Yeah, right? There's a good movie called Two Night Stand about that too.
Oh yeah.
Just throw a movie in here while we're at it.
You know what? Credence would be a great movie. And we're actually going to talk to someone soon about movies that she makes off of books. So maybe, next episode.
All right. Yeah. All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed Credence and our little book chat, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.